Welcome to Uncaged from talkSPORT. I'm Adam Catterall. Pleasure as always to be in your company. And do you know something? I've looked forward to this show probably the most since we started this because I knew it was coming up. I knew there was going to be a moment where we got to speak to the one and only co-presenter of the programme, Brendan Loughnane, in the aftermath of delivering yet another devastating performance knockout. That's right, last Friday night, PFL rocked up to Chicago. That's where Brendan currently still is, in the heights of a fantastic victory in the 2024 season of the PFL tournament. How are you, mate? You good?
Good to be here, Adam, mate. And it's it is a bit mad as well. I was looking forward to actually competing and then talking about it in depth with you. So here we go.
Listen, this isn't like a post-fight interview. This is you getting to do your own thing on your own program because obviously there was pressure going on into the fight on Friday night, especially given what happened at the back end of the 2023 season. So for people that are new to the talkSPORT channel, that are coming across, and maybe they're just UFC fans, and they're thinking, do you know something? I like MMA, so go on, I'll have a little bit of a dip in and see what the rest of the British scene's like. Brendan won the tournament in 2022, right? So the featherweight tournament 2022, this guy's the main man at 145. Has a little bit of a chat with himself. Is that me? Am I going to go and do something else? No, go on. I'll return for 2023. Starts well. And then comes across your first stoppage loss. When I say first stoppage loss, first knockout loss of your career. And you had some big conversations with yourself, mate. Talk to me about that. Talk to me about the tough times, the tough looks in the mirror that you've had over the last 6 to 9 months. And then maybe a few of the emotions that you were going through in fight week, because it's all right chatting the chat, innit? But you can't lie to yourself. When you're sat in your bedroom of an evening and you're thinking about it, you can't lie to yourself. So talk to me about them emotions last week building up to the fight on Friday night.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. And you know what? I was looking forward to opening up, and what a great place to do it here now about it. Well, first of all, coming off a knockout loss, it was scary because it's never happened to me. It's a very foreign feeling. It's never happened in training, and I've sparred thousands of rounds all over the world with world champions and been around the game a long time, and it had never happened. So for it to happen in the cage on that night against Pinedo, it was a foreign feeling, and it took me a while to comprehend it, really, to be honest, Adam. And it was surreal because for 15 minutes of my life, I didn't know where I was. I got knocked out and I lost 15 minutes, like. Literally, if that video of that wasn't there, I wouldn't have known what happened. So I had to process that, and then I had to just get my shit together and be able to get back in the cage, and I did it. And it was a mental battle for myself. I had to look myself in the mirror, like you said, because you cannot lie to the man in the mirror. And I had to have a couple of words with myself, like, you got embarrassed. In my head, you got embarrassed on telly, in front of your mum, in front of everyone. And what if it happens again back to back? You know what I mean? What if that just happens again and that's just you now? What if the chin's gone? All these things that were going through my head. So when I got a chance after the fight to open up a little bit, I just wanted to tell everyone how proud I was of myself that I got to do that again and get in there and battle my own demons and not only come back, but come back with a performance like that. I'm over the moon and it means the world to me.
Was that the toughest walk that you made, given all that knowledge that you had? New, fresh knowledge, because you're used to winning. Don't get me wrong, you've lost a couple of times, but it's not been clinical before, has it? Was that the tough, from the dressing room to the actual smart cage, was that the toughest one that you've done, do you think?
Nah, it wasn't. I was so relaxed. I'd invested so much into this fight camp, and it's the first time. I mean, I had a world-class corner as well. My two corner, John Hutchinson. He's got Peter Yan and Anatoly and all them, and then you've got Frank Hickman who's got Izzy and Volk. I had the all-star corner, Adam. I had the proper all-star corner, fully invested in myself for that fight. Got the best coaches I could physically find, put the time and effort in, and the results showed on Friday.
The results did blooming show on Friday night. It mustn't be fun though, but that backstage moment. Or maybe it is for you. I don't know. You're an odd dude. So maybe it is when you're in them changing rooms with your guys and you're seeing some of the other fighters coming through, because your co-main event, you've got a bit of a weight there, haven't you? You're the former champion. You're coming off the back of that loss. What are those emotions like when you're in that dressing room waiting for your name to be called to go, right, okay, boys, you're ready to rock and roll?
I absolutely hate it. And I've done it so many times as well. There's not really a word or anything that can put on when you're sat in the back and that guy knocks on your door and goes, "You're up next, Brenda." Like, I don't care how many you have. Like, it just doesn't get any easier. It doesn't. I hate it, Adam. I actually hate it. I ask myself every time, what are you doing? But
Yeah.
that saying that I live by, find the hardest thing you can physically do in life and do that because it'll give you purpose. It'll get you up in the morning. And the hardest thing I could do right now is this tournament again. It really is. So, I'm happy that I'm back in it, but at the same time, I hate it.
As an elite striker like you are, it must be really difficult for you to keep the emotion under wraps when you clip him, because it's early in the, you know what I mean. You start all that you've just spoke about. You're going in, right. The fight begins. There's a feeling out process. You have a little bit of a look with him, and then you clip him, and you can tell that he's hurt in some way, shape, or form. Now, the majority of us would just lose our mind in that moment. How hard is it just to try your best to stay composed, stay calculated, and deliver the precise shots that end up stopping that fight?
You know what's mad? My boxing coach, right, that I've got now, and we trained diligently on that right hand since Christmas Day, right? We just knew that he was southpaw. He was heavy on the front leg. He'd been knocked out before. So he was like, listen, you're going to knock this guy out. You know what he kept saying all week? It was well funny. He was going, I can't see you busting a sweat in this fight. He went, you're going to knock him straight out. And then we were all going, John, chill out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we were trying to calm him down. Like, John, but he just knew, he could see. He was like, honestly, Brendan, you're not even going to come out of first gear. You're going to knock him straight out. Not like Mickey in Snatch. He was like, you're gonna knock him out. It was literally like that. And I was like, chill out, John. But that was just the belief that he had. And he was right. The first shot bang, I just knew. It hit him straight away. And just off air, we were talking about 15 knockouts. It's unheard of in featherweight MMA. And I knew that I've got a gift from God, Adam, that once the right hand lands, it just ends him. So once I hit him, I knew I had 14 minutes left to catch him again. So I wasn't in any rush whatsoever. And that's where my experience kicked in.
It's the precision. It's the accuracy. I mean, people talk about power, don't they? And we've seen. But listen, last week we were here, and we were talking about Alex Pereira and Jamal Hill, and we'll talk to Jamal Hill a little bit later on because he's already got a fight booked for UFC 303. And if you actually look at that shot, it's not clean, it's not precise. But that just goes to show how much legitimate, God-given, crazy power that Alex Pereira has. You're more. Correct me if I'm wrong, mate. You're a sniper. Yeah. There's gaps that open, and you go straight through the gap in a precise manner with timing, with technique, of which can't, you know what I mean? You can't, I mean, I suppose you can refine it and you can teach it a little bit, but like you said, that's God-given. That's just the natural way of you being able to throw a shot of which catches Pedro, and the minute that he's caught, it's like, woof, what the bloody hell was that?
Yeah. You are right. And it's, I'll be honest with you, Adam, I must have threw in that camp 10,000 right hands. I did. Like, that's all we drilled. John had his big circle pad, and he held it like that, and we just went, boom.
Hit the target.
Boom. All day. Like, sometimes it'd be an hour of one shot, and he'd hold it and go, nah, nah. And then towards the end of the camp, every single one was yes, repetition, in the back, bang, bang, and we just drilled it that much that when it came out on fight night, and they say that great athletes, when they drill something, practice makes permanent, and that's exactly what we did for the last 3 months.
I've just got this funny vision of you and John Boy Boxing, by the way. Make sure you follow him on social media, of you and him being the new Danielson and Mr. Miyagi. That's the vibe I'm getting off you two.
Well, you know what it is? I'll be honest. I'll always be Tony Musa forever and ever and ever.
Of course.
That's my original coach. And I love Tony. He can't travel anymore, unfortunately. So we've kind of come together, and he said, look, I really like this boxing coach. And I said, me too. And they get on, and we all share ideas. Yeah, and it's great. And I'm going home to see Tony now. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to having a pint with him when I get home. But he took me to where he could take me. You know what I mean? And now he's had to take a little step back. John Boy's coming, and he's brought the fresh energy, and he's found a different side of Brendan, which is actually scary. Imagine I'm 34, Adam, and getting better. Like, it's scary, mate. Where I can go now is scary. I honestly believe that.
It's relit a new fire, and it's beautiful the way that you speak about Tony Musa. Obviously, we know that he can't travel, and I'm sure that emotion, that the emotion that you two are going to have when you see him, when you get back to Manchester and you catch up, and he's probably watched that fight a million times. I wouldn't be surprised if he's got some things that he's seen that he's going to throw your way, mate, and he's going to say, "Hey, you should have been doing this, you should have been doing that," or whatever it may be. Because that's just the relationship that you two have. Like you say, you've been with him for a long, long period of time. It's going to be a good catch-up that when you get back to Manchester.
No, honestly, him and John Boy share the same vision. They say the same things to me. They both see inside me what I couldn't see for a long time. And Tony used to always say it to me. But now John Boy's come along. And I've been working with John Boy, to be fair, since Bubba. And, you know, that was the last time I knocked someone out with a right hand was Bubba. So, we've been on this path for a minute now. This is the first time he's actually travelled with me and cornered me. And it's refreshed everything up. And then obviously you've got Frank Hickman, probably the most successful wrestling coach in MMA right now. You know what I mean? So just throw that in the mix. They don't even know that my wrestling's better than my striking. How about that? How about that?
Look at this,
How about
that? Well, whilst we're still talking about striking, check this out for a list, right? Everybody knows that Paul Daly, 35 knockouts, right, which is currently
ridiculous.
A world record, ridiculous. Right? But underneath him, check this out, for UK and Irish fighters, you got John Phillips, the Welshman, at 20 knockouts. Conor McGregor at 19 knockouts. I'm doing this in orders, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Bisping, 18 knockouts. Jimmy Manuwa, the poster boy, at 15. Joining him on 15, here he is, the one and only. And out of all of those, the lightest of all of those guys, Brendan Loughnane on 15. You've got Jimmy Wallet on 13. Michael Venom Page is the only current active UK and Irish fighter on this list that's close to you on 13 knockouts. That's pretty good going, mate. To be amongst those type of characters, brilliant.
I know. I just posted it yesterday, and Conor actually messaged me when he seen it.
He's going to have to get one in July, mate, to get further away from you, isn't he?
That's what he said to me. He went, "I'll be getting my 20th in July." And I went, yeah. Anyway, I said, "Conor, we've got some catching up to do, don't we, mate? No one's getting near Paul Daly, are they? Let's have it right."
No, what a great list to be a part of. Like I said, the closest English fighter is Michael Venom Page, and obviously Conor's ahead there on 19 as well, still going.
Oh, it's legendary, Adam. It's absolutely legendary. I have to pinch myself looking at that list. Honestly, it's mad.
Obviously, it was, from our point of view, it's all about you on Friday night, but there's a little bit of action as well for Brett Johns and some other hot prospects coming through this PFL tournament. So I'm going to hand it over to you, pal. It's always better to get the assessment from the man that was on the ground. What did you make of Friday night, the runners and riders in your own division and the other divisions as well that were competing?
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I thought it was wide open this year, I really do. I didn't see anything extra special. The Chris Wades and the Mov Leeds, the dangerous ones, that they seem to have moved on now. There was that Timur Kreziev, something like that. I don't know how you pronounce it, but look,
I like it though. I like that, mate. You with this presentation malarkey now, you're going to get it with these names.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was a tough one, Kreziev. I don't know. We'll just stick to that. But just looked like a boring, smothering style. I've got to be honest, it was boring. Brett Johns did really well in a couple of them scrambles, and I feel for Brett Johns. I really like Brett Johns. Yeah. What a top fella and human being, and his dad, and the whole coaching thing. And I was upset for Brett. I really wanted him to get the job done. He's just come over to PFL, and let's not get it, mistaken. He's 20-3, or he was. Now he's 20-4.
Yeah.
Only losses are to Aljamain Sterling, Pedro Munoz, and somebody else. Only ever lost to elite competition. He fought an undefeated Dagestani fighter who are notoriously hard to fight. Imagine that. Welcome to the PFL, and you've got to fight this guy. I thought he did really well. Timor just come to spoil the night, and it was a boring, suffocating style, but it got the job done and it is effective. And it is the way to fight in tournaments, Adam. You have to approach this differently. You can't be going out and having wars every time because you have to fight 4 times in 7 months. It's its own entity. Like, you can't always go out and be a Brendan Loughnane sniper in and out job, can you? Because it's just not all guys are tough. So if you're going to do it, you have to do it like Timor did. Take him down, suffocating style. And then you also had Gabriel Braga, who looked ever dangerous. Crazy story, Adam, with what's just gone on with him and his dad. But massive respect to him. Another great fella. To come back from something like that, something so tragic and traumatic, to come back from that and win the way he did. I was so happy for him. Even though these guys are my competition, Brett and all that, I just respect them all so much because we all kind of look around at each other and Adam and go, this is hard, this, lads. And we all have a mutual respect for each other. And that's what's nice about the PFL, because it's so physically demanding, mentally demanding, that we all look around and respect each other. So that was that. And who was the other fight now? You had him, Bubba, my old
I was going to say, how's your old mate Bubba, and how's Tyler Diamond getting on?
Tyler Diamond, yeah, 2 of my old foes. I thought Bubba did enough to win, I'll be honest. I really did think he did enough to win that fight. It was a very close one. I think Bubba's still improving as well. His boxing looked good in that fight. Didn't use his wrestling as much as he should. He should be using his wrestling a lot more. He's one of the best wrestlers in America. He seems to be getting away from it now and believing in his striking too much. I'll be honest. I think he needs to go back to his bread and butter. That was that. Tyler Diamond. I mean, Tyler's just an animal. He's just another animal. He's just another animal.
I love watching him fight because he's so reckless, but he's so entertaining, man.
He's just up for it, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's just absolutely up.
For those that have not seen this, and maybe this is the first time that listening to Brendan, you're learning maybe about the PFL. Just Google Brendan Loughnane, Tyler Diamond from a couple of years back. Honestly, it's like a backyard brawl from some mad old gaff. This kid gets pinged around the smart cage off my man sat in front of us, and he won't go anywhere. He won't go. He just kept coming back going, come on then. Is that all you've got? Come on, keep giving me more of it. Fantastic brawl.
Yeah, it was. And he took me to places that I didn't know I could go mentally. So I always thank Tyler. I say, look, you give me... We had the best fight PFL's ever seen. I think it was up there. You know what I mean? It really was. And, happy for Tyler. You know what? It was just a good showing. The featherweight level was good. The fights were good. Braga looked great. And I think it's shaping up to a Brendan Loughnane, Gabriel Braga final. And I think that is the fight to make, don't you?
Mate, listen, I'm all in on that, my man. So for people that have not seen this before, talk to me about dates. What's now the schedule for you? Because they come thick and fast, these bad boys.
Don't remind me, Adam. I was trying to switch off of it for a minute, but yeah.
You might get a week, and then you've got to get back to it, pal, because it's tournament format, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nuts. It does. It just swings around quick. Before you know it, I'll be doing a weight cut again in a minute. It's literally like that. Literally, Adam. I'm getting on a flight now after this, back to England, see my mum 3 days, and then back to training camp. So it's a lot. It's a lot mentally and physically, but I'm used to it now. I'm a tournament fighter now, and I've built my life around this tournament. And if you haven't got your P's and Q's in order outside of fighting, this will swallow you up. And what I mean by that is life comes at you fast as well, because you don't have a life. Your life is embedded in this tournament. Like for me now, could you imagine I did have kids and other things going on? Like, how would I have any time?
It's very tough.
Yeah, it's very tough on all these fighters, I'll be honest with you. And it takes a certain type of fighter to succeed in the PFL. And one other thing that I like to tell people, because I know a lot of people on here will be unfamiliar with the PFL, to be a 2-time PFL champion, you have to win 8 fights consecutive, You have to win 4 to get a belt. So that means you'd have to win 8 To be a 2-time UFC champion, you win 2 fights, you win the belt, you have 6 months off, parade the belt around a little bit, and then you come back, and then you're like in a conveyor belt, constantly fighting.
You've also missed the time scale there. So you've said the amount of fights, but we're talking about, for you to be champion this year, you're gonna have to do that over what? Less than a 6-month period.
Yeah, it's unheard of. It is. It's crackers. It's crackers. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm a tournament fighter now, and I've learned to adjust my life to the PFL because that is what it's all about. It's about adjusting because it's its own entity. It really is. Like we touched off Paul Hughes coming over now. So guys like this that are coming over, you have to adjust your style and your life to be a tournament fighter because it's really different. Because I used to, growing up, I would have a fight 3 to 6 months later, back in again, I'd have time off. No. This is, you're all in, fully invested, 6-month conveyor belt of madness, and then you get a month or 2 off, 6-month conveyor belt, and that's why I'm glad all these guys are coming over now, the Simeon Powells and the Lewis McGrillans and Dakotas, and I like educating these people. Like, listen, as soon as you come over here, I speak to Dakota all the time, Lewis, and I say, listen, this is how you approach it, and to try to educate people, because I was the first one in here, and now I'm a veteran in here, and I know what you have to do, and it's scary, Adam, it is, because you're looking down the barrel of a fight for 6 months straight.
Do they call you uncle?
I'll get the pipe and cigar out soon.
What you've just said there, I mean, people trying to comprehend that, they'll be like, that sounds absolutely crazy. But just for a little bit of a contrast, I've been in a gym today and there's fighters that are not PFL. Some are UFC, some are Aries, some are Brave, some are KSW fighters that I've been around. And I've been asking them, when you're fighting next, what's your next day? And they don't know the answer to that. And you can see the mental turmoil that they're going through, thinking, I'm fit, I'm ready, I want to fight, I'm just waiting for a day, I'm waiting for an opponent and all this type of stuff. Yes, your situation is crackers, but that mental focus is a thing that I think a lot of fighters maybe take for granted a little bit. Being in that situation that you're in, you're zoned in. And it's a rare thing to be able to have that for a long period of the year, whereas other guys and girls are waiting for dates and getting frustrated.
No, that's such a good point, and I'm glad you brought it out, because right now, I know 28th of June, I'll fight in Sioux Falls. I'll be back in there again. It's another paycheck. It's another date to be focused on, and it's one more step towards another world title. And I know that it's right there, round the corner. I'm fit, I'm strong, I'm healthy, and it's going to happen. But here's the other thing. You pick up a little niggle along the way, Adam. Guess what? You're out until next year. Yeah? Like, you miss a date. You've missed the date. See you later. Bye. Your season's over. And that's what another thing that people don't understand. UFC, Bellator, you pick up a little niggle. Uncle Dana, yeah, I've hurt my ankle, mate. Put me on later on in the year. No worries, Brent. Sound. None of that gear. Yeah, picked up a niggle. All right, then. We'll see you in 25 then. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's got its pros and cons, Adam. It really has.
It does. Now, you've just mentioned there a particular name that's now coming to the PFL. For those that don't know this name, it's been hotly touted in and around the scene as to where he would end up. Paul Hughes. On the British and Irish scene, a lot of people have been thirsty for him to make the step from Cage Warriors to somewhere else. He's chosen the PFL. That is an absolutely massive coup for the organisation, because I thought the hot ticket was that he was going to go down the UFC route. He's chosen the PFL. What a brilliant addition he is to the roster.
Well, not just him. Look at Cedric Doumbé. There's a few now. Shane Burgos. Shane Burgos was up for renewal and chose the PFL. Like, they're actually now actively seeking to be competitors, Adam. It's not just, we don't want to coexist anymore. They want to actually go for it now. They want to start taking hot European talent and they want to start embedding them within the PFL. And it's a great strategy. And it was also a great move because, like you said, Paul Hughes, highly touted. Everyone thought he was going down the Conor route, straight to the UFC. PFL have come in and probably doubled the offer. Let's have it right. They've probably gone, we'll give you this. And then it comes down to that whole, what we're doing it for. Is it you doing it for the money? Are you doing it for the UFC belt? But I always tell people, Adam, and I stick by this, It's prize fighting. You're getting locked in a cage with another man. Take the cheddar. Take the cheddar. Like, take it. What are you on about? Like, we've all got families to feed. Like, if they come with a bigger offer, they're on ESPN, the same channel as the UFC. Take the money. Do you know what I mean?
Listen, I'm excited to see what he does in the Smart Cage because, listen, he smashed it on what he's done so far with Cage Warriors. Now we know that he's stepping up again in level. There's some top fighters in the PFL. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Paul Hughes does and where they bring him in. I'm sure there's going to be quite a few shows on Irish soil, which I know that is attractive to you as well, mate. You'll be wanting to get a piece of that party after you've snaffled this particular tournament anyway. Whilst we're still on additions, we know that Jake Paul is a prominent figure within the PFL. He's told us that he's going to do it. We know that he's got this, I want to call it a thing. I'm not going to go OTT. He's got this thing going on with Mike Tyson, but he's been heavily talking about fighting at some point in MMA. He's been talking about the PFL. We've seen the current tour, and it's still ongoing, I think, between Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz. They're having a boxing match. He was asked on a podcast recently, Jake Paul, that he would fancy a dance with either of those two. Do you think that we will ever actually, realistically, see him in the Smart Cage?
Well, you know, we're actually talking about him fighting Mike Tyson, so what isn't possible anymore? Like,
good point.
Like, what are we actually talking about anymore? Do you know what I mean? I really do. I think he will fight MMA. I'll be honest with you. I see him training with, I forget the guy's name. I used to train with him at Alliance. He's doing his jiu-jitsu now. He comes from a wrestling background, so he's not brand new to it. He's obviously got hands. He's obviously a fit, strong young lad. And obviously they'll give him a matchup which is, you know, going to be in his favour. But will he fight Nate Diaz in MMA? I think you bit off a bit more you can chew there, Adam. What do you think?
I think that what the heck are you doing, Sunshine? Nate Diaz is not going to mess about. You know what I mean?
No. Oh.
It's all well and good picking and choosing opponents in the world of boxing that obviously can't box, right? That's no disrespect to some of the guys that he's been in with. He's been in with some that can, and he's kind of fallen short in those contests. MMA is a completely different kettle of fish, and especially the two names that he's been mentioning in Masvidal and Nate Diaz, they ain't guys that are going to play. They ain't going to come and have the belly tickled. You want to have a fight? They'll have a fight. And you know what I mean? If you mess about for long enough, you'll find out, won't you?
Well, I think, you know, I don't know if he's got shares in the PFL or he's connected in some way, but he's definitely deeply embedded in the PFL at the minute.
Yeah.
And it's been really good for the PFL, I'll be honest. They needed that. They needed someone like Jake to endorse it and get behind it. What capacity will he be involved? I don't know, because you can't be putting him in with them two names we've just said. You just can't.
But what I can see is some type of that celebrity type thing. Yeah. Because we've heard the names of the Mark Zuckerbergs of this world, and we've heard the Elon Musks of this world flirting with MMA. Yep. Someone from outside of the sport who maybe do a bit of practicing, you know, for fun and fancy a little bit of a knock. I can see that, but I can't see him fighting a serious fighter, mate.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you, and I think that would be good. You know, a couple of the names that you mentioned there, let's put him in that kind of realm. Do you know what I mean? And let's give him a fight with someone with a bit of a following himself, and basically a white collar MMA fight. Let's have it right. That's the capacity that I'd like to see him in the PFL, and I do think it'll happen.
Any other business? Let's get stuck into it, because there's been a couple of fights that have been announced for UFC 302, UFC 303. I want to go to 303 first, because Jamal Hill's already got a fight booked. Khalil Roundtree, who's been on a bit of a tear, is fighting the former champion at UFC 303, International Fight Week. I'm bringing this up because Hill's coming off the back of that knockout loss to Alex Pereira. Do you think it's a little bit too quick? Should he be taking a little bit more of a rest? Or is it a case of, let's get back on this horse as quick as possible?
Far too quick, Adam. I took 10 months off after that loss. 10 months, like, your brain needs time to heal. Like, your brain's a living organ. Yeah, he got absolutely flattened. Like, give it a bit of time. Do you know what I mean? Let it heal. Do the correct procedures to let that brain heal. You shouldn't be back in the cage that soon, and I don't think it's a good move.
Another man that's in quick at UFC 302, Jailton Almeida. He's coming off the back of a TKO loss to Curtis Blades. He's taking on Alexander Romanov. And you've got Sumajeri taking on Joshua Van as well. Our mutual friend Momoke has been calling out Joshua Van as well, so I'm sure that he'll be having a little bit of a look at that fight in the men's flyweight division. I'm going to ask you about McGregor because I know that you're in conversation with him, especially with this knockout list, and he's trying to get away from you now, seeing as that you're catching him up. What's the latest that you're hearing from Conor? I was speaking to someone yesterday that he's, I wouldn't say close to the camp, but maybe he's close to people that are close to that camp, and they're saying that the guy's looking incredibly sharp. I know he's put a video out kicking the bag just to show, listen, you've got doubts over where my leg's at, my leg's red hot, don't you worry about that. These leg kicks are coming in, and they're coming for Michael Chandler. What's the noises that you're hearing?
Nothing much really. Do you know, it was a bit of a weird one because obviously I was fighting John Kavanagh and Pedro, who and Pedro was actually sparring with Conor for this fight, to fight me. So it was a crazy time really. I'm glad it's over with, to be honest. And I spoke to John Kavanagh yesterday, spoke to Conor. So mate, I would love to be in the camp. I would absolutely love to be around that camp in some capacity. What date's the fight again, Adam?
International Fight Week. It's last weekend of June. Yeah, last Saturday of June.
So I think it's the day before I'm fighting as well. So I'm back in camp as well. So if there was rumblings around the camp, I know it could definitely work. The dates match. So let's see what happens, Adam.
Listen, no doubt the build-up to that is going to be ridiculous. There's going to be plenty more on social media between Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler. A fight that's been brewing for a year since they did Tough, and we're looking forward to him doing it at International Fight Week. I'm going to let you get off, mate, because obviously you've got to get on. You've got to go and see your mum. You know what I mean? You're going to get looked after. A nice Sunday roast, no doubt, every night of the week, matey. All that type of carry on. Some mum's home cooking. Only for a few days, though, sunshine, because you've got to turn it round and get yourself back out to Thailand and get back in those gyms and do your thing.
You know what it is, Adam? It's the little things in life. A home-cooked meal and a brew. And a nice cup of tea.
There you go, eh? Listen, I don't want to rain on your parade, but it's chucking down here, lad. So you're going to be in and out. You'll be back out to Thailand in quick, smart fashion.
That's what I mean. I think I miss it. I get there and I think, now I know why I don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm off. Listen, don't forget to subscribe to the talkSPORT MMA channel. This is Uncaged with myself and Brenda Lockname. We do this every single week. We preview stuff, we review stuff. There's some fantastic flyweights on in action in the UFC next weekend, so we'll give you a little bit of a preview of that. Sorry, a review of that once they've fought on Saturday night, and then we'll be building up to the Brazil card at UFC 301, where Alexandre Pantoja is defending his crown against Steve Usyk. So we'll give you a bit of a preview on that, and there's the return of Jose Aldo to get excited about as well. Like I said, make sure you subscribe to the channel here on talkSPORT MMA, and we'll catch you next time.